Warning: memory degradation fluctuates between 52% to 99%. Average degradation at 81%. Known references not consistently present. Attempt correction attempting. Attempt results. Accuracy 99%. Recommend manual inspection. Play memory transcription subject. 7378443 extermination. Officer date. Standardized human time. November 8, 2136. It felt weird to walk around without my shirt on. Unfortunately, this was the easiest way to get little Alvy to sleep. I don't know how to describe it, but seeing her lay on my chest and struggle to breathe set off every alarm bell in my head. It just isn't natural. I need to ask why every animal I've seen on the blasted planet has a nose but them. I gently laid down on the couch, careful not to disturb the lil one too much. My heart stopped when I saw her chest stop rising and falling. I gently rubbed my finger on her snout to get her breathing again. Thank you. Document. If you hadn't given me that crash course on Vinlil, postnatal, newborn care, I'd have had a heart attack 5 times by now. She gagged and took a deep breath in. We both exhaled in unison as she went right back to sleep, this time breathing correctly. I gently patted her on the back as she slept peacefully. I leaned my head back and closed my eyes until I felt her shift a half second into trying to just rest. I quickly threw my arms up and whacked against something warm, soft and wet. Mikvia let out a startled grunt as she held her nose. Should have known better than to not wake you up first. Sorry. My eyes flittered from the soundly sleeping Alvy to Mikvia nursing her nose. No. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I shouldn't have. I thought she was falling, and I got scared. That's not an excuse. Paul. Mikvia smiled with her whole body. Don't apologize. I'm not made of paper. I can take an accidental bonk to the nose. See? Not even a drop of blood. I was just going to change Lil Alvy for you. As she lifted Alvy, I tried to protest. She softly whipped me in the face with her tail. Of course you can do it yourself. You don't have to. You aren't herdless anymore. I rubbed the sleep out of my eyes. You're right. What time? I need to get ready for work. She looked at the front door like it was telling her bad news. Do you? I don't think anyone would mind you taking some more time to heal. I shook my head. Doc says I'm good to move around normally. Nothing unexpectedly hurts when I exercise. I think I am good. So chasing predators isn't a problem. Even then, the scariest thing I've seen has been at the hand of crazed rioters. Doesn't look like there are going to be any, so I am good. She sighed as she began to change Alvy. Just stay safe, okay? Normally I would have joked about it, but I choose to be honest. I will. I put on my baby goop jacket and set out into the perpetual sleet of Frozen Mountain. Man, that name does not roll off the tongue. The trip to work went smooth enough despite the sleet. Only saw one Vinlil oversteer and skid into a light pole. Little maniac backed up and drove off like nothing happened. How the jerk are there not a stupid high number of traffic fatalities in this city? The little idiots don't wear seatbelts. Stepping out of the cold, I was greeted by the familiar sounds of office work. I stepped into the office space and brought the noise to a standstill. I ignored the stares and the pain still faintly humming in my leg and chest as I hobbled over to my desk. It didn't take long for a slightly wider than normal Vinlil to stand up in a huff. Shouldn't you be in a hospital still? I tried to ignore them before a certain large blue bird stood in front of me. John, why are you here? Does the chief know? I gracelessly stepped around her. A better question is, why are you here? Your chick. She stomped her foot. No. My chick is already old enough now to have hatched on her own. As a matter of fact, her hatching day should have been 2 days ago. She is fine under my husband's care. We need all the money we can get to give her the best life possible. I looked at her with as much concern in my eyes as possible. And her name? She wrapped herself in her arms and tried to suppress a happy bob of her head. We took what you said into consideration and have decided to take your advice. Her name is Jane. I don't know if that is the female version of John or what, but they say John or Jane Doe for a reason, right? Better not tell her that. That's a good name. You should look up Jane Goodall. She's a pretty cool person. Before either of us could carry on the conversation, a rather flustered-looking Kolshin named Orlin came running over with a data pad. I need a crew to head over to the Shin farm in Cold Creek. Owners reported a large predator stalking the farm. Wife said her husband was about to grab their repeater and deal with the beast himself. I don't want some dumb human hiker getting shot at again or worse. John? Why aren't you in the hospital? I ignored the question for a second time. It looks like Very is still working on some art pieces for the guild. How about he finishes those and I'll head out in his place? Like you said, probably just a dumb hiker. Me and Aroka can handle it. Nice easy job to slide back into work on. I grabbed the keys for our truck off of Aroka's desk and made my way towards the garage. Thankfully, no one else bothered to ask why I was here. Actually, no one seemed bothered I was here. It even looked like a few of them happily wagged their tails as I walked by. Is Aroka behind me? Not yet. Are they? Nah. But perhaps they were happy to see me. The Gojid, Pseudo, and the Tillfish, Reska, were just coming back from a call, and the pair of them perked up at my approach. The latter flicked his antennae in the air. John, congrats on becoming a father. I've seen your nurturing instincts. If anyone can help them, you can. He's never been hostile but not looking a bit apprehensive is new. And a bit nice, thanks? Pseudo's ears fell down in embarrassment. Hey, John? May I ask you for a favor? I raised an eyebrow. Depends. He started to fiddle with the claws on his hands. Paws. On his paws. Would you see if Quira would be interested in marrying me? I remembered her gushing about how much of a dolt he was on their first date, but I've not exactly been hamming my nose into her affairs, This feels a little rushed. It's barely been a month. He looked dejected. I know it's just. I'm getting older, and I waved his worries off with a flick of my hand. Say no more. I talk to her when I see her. I dangled the keys, and the pair of them helped me load up the truck. Still had to answer 100 stupid questions from Reska about whatever inane nonsense he heard. But hey, I had no idea that Finland apparently doesn't exist. So that's new. So far, everything is feeling kinda surreal. No odd glares. No aliens jumping at the sight of me. No nothing. Like, I'm back at all clear pest and animal control. Except now I'm killing alien pests. Aroka caught back up with me as soon as we finished loading the truck. I doubt we need a flamethrower, shotgun, and flares, but we were taking them anyways. Paranoid little buggers, the lot of them. We pulled out of the guild's garage, only for Aroka to stop by the side entrance. A paint-smudged Very ran out carrying their cold gear instead of wearing it, and scrambled into the back seat. Your daddy wanted me to go with you. He's worried you might be too hurt to be safe still. I rolled my eyes, jerk off. Without a bit of malice in their voice, they retorted, You jerk off. With quite a bit of malice in her voice, Aroka reported, The both of you. Shut up. We snickered at ourselves for riling Aroka up, without so much as actually talking to her. Of course, her order to shut up had little effect. We spent most of our trip to the farm talking bullshit. Very would make some half-hearted remark about me being a predator or humans being evil, and I made up some bullshit recipes for eating Vinlil and Gojids. Soon enough, the Shin farm came into view. It looked like any other rural farm back in Texas, with the exception of a 3D printed concrete home in place of the hurricane-resistant metal fab buildings dotted all over. A panicked-looking Vinlil was running around outside, jumping up and down and waving her arms frantically as we pulled up. I didn't even have time to step outside before she was at Aroka's window. HEGRABBDTHENANDWENTTOGOSCAREITUFF. I told him to wait for real. He's just a stubborn brack. Please, go help him. I don't know what he wook dow without him. Obithestar skied him. Oddly enough, she didn't seem fazed by the presence. Aroka started the desperate struggle to calm her down. Ma'am, calm down. I can't understand you. I patted my side as I looked at Very with a grin. I could tell they didn't want to unload by themselves, but my excuse to Aroka got Very to get to work. Hey, Aroka. Help her out. Very will unload. And I'll go see if I can't defuse the whole situation. Be right back. I turned to walk off as Aroka exasperatedly spit out, No, we need to go as a team. It's not safe. I laughed her off. PSH. Yeah. I'll keep an eye out for my own fingers. Won't go stabbing them into any holes. The Vinlil continued babbling on. My translator failed to decipher her gobbledygook tongue. ITSNOTHUMA and ITSAHUGTHING. Isowit Stalanditchuj. Why didn't Basha just listen tome? Ideoantoine thimtigitatin biavlarkal. Hesagudman. Weediniti food to thelokal humanif gojid shelter. Wetria tevrianerite. Please Davam. Aroka was forced to wave me off, ma'am. Please. I need you to calm down. I can't understand you. My translator isn't picking up your speech. I rounded a corner and made my way to the back of the homestead. A rather large barn sat in the distance. Not a red wooden barn like in the old paintings and pics, or a metal fab one either. It was concrete and looked more like a giant chute. It was a series of rings stacked on top of each other, painted a greenish-brown color. Is this alien farming? Chute barns? A high-pitched scream came from said building, and I picked up the pace and ran over there. Hey, I'm John. I'm here to help. My last word crawled back into my mouth out of fear. There was a god-darn polar bear in front of me. Only it was twice as big and didn't have the head of a bear. It was some kind of weasel mole thing. It had tiny beady eyes on the front of its face, wriggling tendrils around its nose, massive bat-like ears, and this long, stretched snarl that revealed rows of razor-sharp teeth. Its hulking forearms each carried 4 2-foot-long claws that looked like they could carve a moose in half with a single swipe. I could easily see its ribs as it hungrily whipped a 10-foot-long tail behind itself. It sniffed the air before turning its beady eyes on the Venlil pressed against a wall. I noticed the double-barrel shotgun broken in half and strewn across the lawn, as I noticed the orange blood slowly trickling from the beast. A river of drool flowed from its mouth as it approached the quivering Venlil. It opened its maw unnaturally wide as it approached, ready to eat the poor man in one bite. My forearm didn't ask my permission as it dragged my hand to my firearm. I pulled the standard issue pea shooter from its holster, all the more aware of how futile my actions would be. I screamed as hard as I could, breaking my own voice, and the darn thing froze and turned its gaze on me. It recoiled in pain as my first shot blew its stupid beady eye out. My second blasted off a tendril before my third, fourth, and fifth took skin off its head. I froze as it let out a deep, blood-curdling roar. The beast lumbered my way like a drunk gorilla, picking up speed. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. My slide locked back, asking me to reload. My thumb didn't have an opportunity to press the mag release as the beast caught me in the gut with the back of its massive forearm, hurtling me through the air like a 5-pound bag of potatoes. Venlil Prime's higher gravity didn't hesitate to drag my 300 pounds of weight into the stone-hard earth. I tried to inhale, but the pain of a dozen broken ribs forced me to gasp out my final breath. Never thought I'd be conscious to see that. My arms wriggled and flopped, trying to grasp something that I didn't know about. My legs kicked to try and run, but I was laying face first in the dirt. Either way, they stopped when a massive weight broke my femur. The pain jolted up my body, forcing air in and back out in a blood-curdling scream. Pain shot through my arm as its massive claws dug through my flesh, bones, and sinew like a red-hot knife through boiling water. It flicked my arm off like it wasn't even attached, throwing it and a trail of crimson through the yard. The other paw stabbed into my back and lifted me off the ground. My eyes opened and everything hurt, but I was on the ground again, being lifted. This time I remembered everything as it slammed me into the ground again, driving its claws deeper inside my guts. With a flick of its wrist, they came spilling forth across the yard, but in the opposite direction of my arm. Oh, I'm on the ground again. It sniffed the back of my head before grabbing it with its maw. With a flick of its head, it brought my own deeper in its mouth. Then again, and again. With my head locked in the back of its jaws, it bit down with ungodly force. I could hear my skull crack. I felt extreme heat wash over me, just as my skull gave way to its bite. Oh yeah, standard issue practice. If prey is being attacked, eaten, or has been eaten, cleanse it with fire. I wonder if there will be enough of me left for Dr. Autofriend to dissect. For what it's worth, document, feel free to do whatever you want with me now. In-memory transcription/note, accepting this as permission to do something he might not like. // a merry little jingle played as an AI booted up. Welcome new user. Thank you for accessing the time capsule memory storage facility. We have thousands of transcriptions donated by willing participants and the families of the deceased. If you would like to the new user impatiently cut it off, log in. Identity. General Jones. The computers hummed as the AI dug up lines of codes and rules. Welcome back, General. Please present biometrics now. The General held her thumb to the scanner. After a few moments, the screen flashed green. Thank you for your cooperation, General Jones. How might I assist you today? Continue playback of the Under Ice incident. The screen flashed with a few dozen scene files before it got to what she wanted. Understood, General. Please wait while I call the memory transcription of Aroka, Frozen Mountain Natural Pest Exterminator. Loading complete. Resuming playback. Memory transcription subject, Aroka, Frozen Mountain Natural Pest Exterminator. Date, standardized human time. November 8, 2136. My translator was completely failing to grasp what the wife was saying. Very was bitching about unloading the truck by himself. Herself? Jerk it. Themself? John just walked off like a shadestalker wasn't a threat to him. Wait, does he even know what shadestalker is? As if to answer my question, a blood-curdling scream echoed over the hill, followed by several gunshots. I rushed to the truck as Very tossed me a flamer, and they grabbed a shotgun. Several more shots followed by a deep roar shook the farmstead. It finally clicked. I shouldn't have needed the translator. I know the name in its native tongue, as well as what it translated to. The terrible eater. The Vlarkle. The likelihood we'd survive this was low. But he saved my chick. I will save him if I have to die to do so. My wings slapped my comm. We need backup immediately. Code Black. Vlarkle. Officer likely down. Get a medevac transport on the way now. We will have the site secure. My avian frame and hollow bones allowed me to sprint faster than Very despite their lighter load. As I rounded the corner, I wanted to puke. It was right there in front of me. 3 times bigger than John, with his head grasped in the back of its jaws. It began to bite down with a sickening crunch as I let the flames loose. A few flicks caught on John, but the beast howled in pain and dropped him. I can see his brain. Oh, and Atala, save him. I can see his brain. Very began to circle around the monster, unloading shell after shell into it. I used my flamer to start pushing it back more than roasting it. We expected the thing to run, but its ears flicked in my direction. I dropped the flamer and took a pathetic leap into the air, barely flapping away in time for the beast to rush forward, biting the flamer, causing the fuel to spray out and ignite in a massive fireball. Very poured his last few shells, bringing the beast to a crawl. We pulled out sidearms and unloaded roughly 100 rounds into the wounded beast's side. With Haven given it everything at our disposal, the exhausted monster still lived. It crawled forward, whimpering in pain. Very rushed to John's side before the beast finally collapsed under the flames. John was gone for a minute, and we managed to kill the thing in about the same amount of time. Hope surged in my heart when I saw John's chest heave. He's not dead. Very. The medical kit. They sprinted to the truck as I took their place next to John. The damage was intense, and he was losing blood fast. Our medical kits were a little superior to the civilian ones, but no one imagined a person taking this much damage and continuing to breathe. Hang on, John. We are here now. Don't die on us. Okay? John, if you can hear me, fight. Fight for every breath. So long as you are alive, they can fix you. Okay? John. Stay with me. John. //whoopsie-daisy. John seems to have misplaced his arm. But hey, at least he spilled his guts to his work colleagues. All in all, not a great day to be John. On the bright side, he's not dead yet. Emphasis on the yet part. Wonder what our protagonist has in store for him now. Stick around and find out, as the Under Ice incident is finally starting. Special thanks to and for proofreading. Seriously, it felt like my eyes were melting out of my skull, and your feedback was everything I needed. Also, my links are still broken, not to mention that the last Human Exterminator chapter was the one where John passed out, and the rest of his story has been tucked in with Under Pressure. So, stick with me, and hopefully one day I will get the link situation sorted out. One day.